Hello, I'm Emilia Bachelier from Emilia Bachelier Art, and welcome other artists, aspiring artists, art collectors, art lovers. This is a painting that I'm creating that is called Feeling Flushed, and it wasn't a coincidence that Valentine's Day was around the corner when I decided to go with a warmer palette here. It was kind of spontaneous. I wanted to challenge myself and paint something with warm colors like pink, red, magenta, even threw in some contrasting colors like that purple. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be talking here through this painting, and I hope you enjoy. So, just to get started, I'll say that I began this 100 Days of Painting Live journey on Instagram so that I could loosen up a little bit, be more comfortable around the camera, and just start to develop my voice as an artist, because I've been realizing that in staying away from the different ways that you can connect with your audience, I was hindering myself from growing and, just being able to express myself freely without any doubt or without any fear. So this painting, actually, I came up with the title Feeling Flushed because this was one of the first few days of my painting live project, and that's how I was feeling. I was feeling flushed. I was feeling like my face was red hot while I was on these lives, and of course, the more I did them, the more I felt more comfortable. I'm only on day 20 as of today, but I already feel a little bit less stressed out about the whole thing. I feel more open to talk about my art, my process, what I'm thinking about when I'm making each move here, the colors and everything. I do apologize that I actually lost the first part of this video. Something happened on my Instagram where I wasn't allowed to save the live, and so I learned my lesson, and now I'm recording them separately with my camera. Yeah, here it's kind of like I seem to have decided to add some complementary colors like the blues and the purples. It really is a challenge for me because I tend to stick to the cooler palettes, and it's just something that I reach for. I reach for the turquoise, the teal, the blue, the purple, and I tend to leave the reds and the orange and the magenta alone. So this was kind of to get me to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, and that's what I'm doing. So basically, I went with this composition here. Oh, sorry about that. That's my dog, Zoe. Zoe, come here. Okay, so sorry for the interruption there. Basically, I went with this C shape, if you can see it. It's the little squigglies in the middle, and then it kind of angles downward towards the bottom left. And actually, this is backwards. It's flipped backwards. You'll be able to see what the final piece looks like at the end of this video. And so here I'm describing the different reds. Looks like 2 different reds and 2 different magentas that I went for. And I'm just blocking in some more color, kind of sticking with this composition. And you know, I thought about uploading these lives with the original audio, but because each one of them is around an hour long, I thought it would be easier to view if I sped them up a little bit and edited out some of the paint mixing and the twirling and the waiting around, basically. So yeah, that's what I did, and I went with the voiceover instead because I really can't delete all of these scenes of just waiting around and keep the same audio because it wouldn't make sense. There's no flow. So I guess what's engaging about the lives is that I can talk throughout the mixing paint times, and any idle moment where I'm not painting is just I'm trying to talk about something and telling the people watching the live what I'm doing. And so at this point I've decided that I don't like that top left corner, so I'm covering it with magenta. And actually I like working in layers a lot because sometimes you can see what was underneath, or you can see a new color. You can create a new color by painting over a different color with a light layer of paint. So, or you could use a transparent color of paint, but I like to just go in with the regular opacities of the paints. If I want to make that color transparent, then I'll add some medium to it to make it more fluid. And so yeah, I'm just spreading around that magenta some more. Really like that peach in the middle. I think it goes really well with the reds and the pinks. A lot of areas I do go over again, like the squiggles, the U's in the top third. I did paint over some of the reds there just to brighten them up a little bit more. And I feel like my process is really expressionistic and intuitive. I like to think of it a little bit as freestyle as well, because usually when I start a painting, I don't really have anything in mind. I might, on occasion like this, have some colors in mind. I wanted to stick to a warm palette in this case, but usually I don't have that. Usually I like to just start with a clear mind. I'm just creating, I'm in the zone, and the layers will take me where I want to go ultimately. And the more I work in layers, the more I start to form a composition, the more I figure out what the main color palette is. Sometimes I won't have a color palette and I'll just include about every color there is, but that's my thing. I like bringing out other colors with their complementary color, and I like to create that way. So now I'm adding some miniature U's. And one of my favorite things to do, like how I'm doing now, is creating little specks that are moving in different directions. And they just look like confetti to me. They look like someone is having a party in that little section, or it's a New Year celebration. Something's going on there, and I really like it. Oh, so I believe the next part of the video just started, which is about the third or fourth day that I was working on this painting. So I decided I need to add a little slap of teal to this. And now it looks like I'm directing an orchestra, waving my hands around like that. But I think what I'm doing is I'm explaining that I wanted continuity. So, for example, you can see the bottom left corner has magenta and red, and so does the top right corner. Oh, here's a little glimpse of painting the edges. You could see all those layers with the light coming through from the window. So, yeah, I was explaining how I wanted continuity. You can see that with the purple on the left middle side. Excuse me. You can see a little bit of it on the right side, as well as with the peach on the top and the bottom middle section. So really I have this C shape of all of the marks, the circles, the ovals, but in the background there's a T. And it's not perfect, but it kind of moves. And to me, this looks like a bunch of paper lanterns or lights. You know, in people's backyards when they string those bulbs of lights for the heck of it sometimes, but also for gatherings and parties, stuff like that. So this piece kind of looks like those types of lights, just layered over each other. And the farther you move back, you can see the different layers of those different lights, and they're all different shapes, and they illuminate different areas. And there, actually, when I was waving my paintbrush over the palette, is that when I'm painting small, I have this little section in the corner where I'm mixing paint, but when it's a large painting, I tend to use the whole thing, and the whole palette will just get covered with those colors that I was using for that piece. So it's interesting to see in one little corner you have these small little areas of mixed paint, small little dots, and then the rest of it is just covered in large blobs. So I like to paint the edges as I go. The reason I do this is to save myself time later, so that I don't have to mix a bunch of different colors and give myself a headache, basically, because I won't remember what colors I mixed, or I could very well play around and get that color that I need, but it is just time consuming. So that's why I paint it as I go. I feel like it adds more interest and it gives the painting more dimension when it's hanging on the wall. And you can see it from afar, you can see that the painting wraps around the edges. And so that painted wraparound is really cool looking to me. Kind of also makes it so that you don't really need to frame the painting. I mean, it's optional too, you can frame it, but this is cool because you don't have to. And now I'm adding little embellishments, little green dots. This is also something I like to do once I get towards the end of the painting. I'll just bring out some paint markers, some Stabilo Woodies, which are these 3-in-1 color pencil, watercolor, and crayon art supply. And it's really cool to add the final layer of extra, just, how can I explain it? I bring out the colors. I accentuate the colors. If I have an area that looks too flat, I can shade it in, or I could give it some contrast right next to it with one of these paint markers or Stabilo Woodies, which are Posca pens. And these are the Stabilo Woodies I was talking about. Probably explaining that I like to create washes with these. So because they are water soluble, it's really awesome. I can scribble in where I want the marks, and I can wet my brush and blend them out, or completely erase them if I didn't like the marks that I made. So really I just use it to bring out, as you can see there, those teal ovals. I'm adding some dimension to them. I'm giving them a shadow, kind of. And same thing with that magenta. And I also like to add dots here and there for some variety. And I'm going to get ready to sign it. So thank you so much for watching. You can follow my Instagram live project of 100 Days of Painting Live at Emilia Bachelier Art. Thank you so much. Bye!